I hope you're enjoying your afternoon with both of us.
Yes.
It is afternoon edition. You were deep in thought there.
I was deep in thought.
What are you thinking about?
I was thinking about Stockholm.
What, now you just might move there?
Might just no. I've
go for
spent
Eurovision?
many weekends.
How come?
An ex-flame of mine was from that particular city. I met her in Stockholm. So it's a really interesting
But
city.
actually, you weren't thinking about Stockholm. You were thinking about your ex-girlfriend.
Trust me, I wasn't. Trust me, anyone who knows anything about that relationship, trust me, I wouldn't be. That's for 4 o'clock. We'll have a conversation about that, Sarah. Thanks for bringing that out.
Oh, no problem.
And if my wife's listening, I definitely wasn't thinking of that.
Any opportunity to have a cackle, really.
At my expense, Bretty.
Well, preferably.
You mischievous thing, you.
Kayvan Novak's going to be with us very shortly, talking about Britain Today tonight shortly. But let us explore the world of period drama that is beloved by Nihal Arthur-Naika with the wonderful Sinead Garvin from Newsbeat, who is here as usual. Alongside her spiritually, if not physically, is Joe McAlchuk. Thank you for being with us, Joe. TV critic for Sky News and The Right Stuff. So, Sinead,
Yes.
just for a momentary bit of relief for Nihal, what else are we discussing this week?
Please.
So a documentary about my favourite subject, sleeping, and one of
Or
the
lack
most one of the most popular / controversial TV shows of the year. It's been announced that it will be back for series 2. So all the news on that.
Lovely. Joe, what are you reviewing for us?
We're talking about Elizabeth I's Battle for the Throne, which is a Channel 5 drama documentary, if you can believe that. We're also talking about King Charles III, aren't we? And Britain Today tonight, Jamestown, loads coming up.
And we want you, most importantly, listening to 5 Live now on a Monday afternoon at 3:07, to tell us about your recommendations. So, each and every week, if you're a regular listener to this show, you know we do something called Sell It To Me, where you go through, because there is so much television out there on so many different channels. If we were doing this in 1970, there'd be no issue.
I know. We wouldn't be doing this show, would we? Or if we
Well,
did,
I certainly wouldn't be.
It would be a
Didn't
10
allow
minute...
people like me on the radio in 1970.
Talking about We'd be doing a 10-minute section on television, wouldn't we, really? Not even with our
It would be
free
10
channels.
minutes. Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah. But do you know what I'm watching right now? Because I read a review of somebody said, the much overlooked, brilliant drama, The Leftovers, which is now in its 3rd series. So I've gone back to series 1 and I've
Never
started
heard of
watching.
that.
Super. Because I was bereft the other night. No Broadchurch, no line of duty. What are you going to do? So I had to hunt new things down.
Wow. I've just started watching Dear White People on Netflix.
I haven't watched it yet. Apparently brilliant.
It's fascinating. It's not what you would think it is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really, really interesting. And I'm still going through Aziz Ansari's Master of None, because I think a second season, second series, I should say, is about to start before anyone texts me in and says, well, stop putting these Americanisms into its series. And you'll be absolutely right to upbraid me for that. So, Sell It To Me. For the first time ever, we were sold a game show, and Pete from Birmingham was the man, the master of words, who managed to sell to Sinead Garvin, whose filter for such things is very, very finely tuned. She managed to get Sinead Garvin to go, OK, let's choose a game show. This is what Pete had to say.
OK, well, I'm telling you The Boss. It's presented by Susan Calman. It's got some tough puzzles and questions, but the main thing is it's really good humoured. The participants have to win the chance to be the boss and run the show. And the others are the workers, and they're treated like that. The participants are really put up to being the boss, and they give, I'll give you a written warning for this. And
5 seconds.
And the questions are quite tough, much tougher than most game shows.
Really?
We like that. We like tough questions. Thank you, Steve.
And we like the fact you've done a game show. No one's ever done a game show, I don't think.
The Boss. So.
OK. There you go. Sinead, what did you think of The Boss?
I didn't think the questions were very tough.
I felt look at you, Brainiac.
Well, no, come on. Did you watch it? They were really easy. But no, I did really enjoy it.
I did really well, which makes me think it probably was very easy.
Well, same as me. I mean, I felt quite good, because when you watch University Challenge, you just forever feel terrible about yourself, and you get one question right, and then that's a miracle. Well, no, this I was getting a lot of them right. She's fantastic, though, Susan Calman, who hosts it. She is properly a boss, isn't she? Mm-hmm. She's really, really good fun. But yeah, I mean, it's enjoyable, but I didn't find it tough. I was expecting it to be hard after that sell, but nah.
So if you like insert here popular game show, you will like The Boss. What would be in that insert there then?
Or what other game shows?
Yeah,
is it
the
like?
chase.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I'm not a massive one for game shows, to be honest. So
You
I don't-
surprised me.
But yeah, it's kind of like so it's on during the day, right? So it's quite like nice. She's really good.
She is lovely.
Yeah, she's a really good character to have in that, and like you know, she's quite like badass, really, isn't she? And it is nice, but it's also like the sort of rivalry between like whoever like gets to be the boss, and then they can kind of like put the other ones down. So it's quite nice, but it's not difficult, I would say.
Yeah, but I think the concept is quite good. The fact that she's sort of towering above them all at the beginning,
Yes.
and then they have this, all 5 of them get asked questions. Whoever gets the most right goes up and stands next to her. They get to be, well, they can choose whether or not they want to be the boss or they want to nominate somebody else, which is all very strategic and Machiavellian, and I quite like that.
Yes, I love the fact that she's behind them and that and they've got all their backs to her. That's
Yes.
brilliant, that bit. Yeah.
So it's good. I thought it was quite enjoyable, but, you know, you and I, I'm afraid, are the same on this, Sinead. I'm not really much of a game show person. When you've got University Challenge in your life, it's hard, isn't it? Everything else is compared to University Challenge in your world, isn't
Intellectual
it?
sadomasochism. That
I
is
know,
what's
but
in
who doesn't like a bit of that?
Well, it doesn't make you feel very clever, though, does it, University Challenge?
No, it does not. It does not. But, yeah, I'm going to slap each other on the backs all day long, are we?
I'm just trying to wrap my brains. And I should know this. What was the game show? The darts one. What was that?
Bullseye.
Bullseye. Exactly. Yeah. That's
Wow.
now that.
Now we're talking.
Now
Big
we're talking,
break.
Joe.
Yeah, Henry Kelly's Going for Gold.
Oh, going for
Oh,
gold.
I
No,
love
that was
that.
the
Glory
one.
days.
They would
Yeah.
have listen to us. Listen to us.
The heat is
Bullseye.
on.
Bullseye.
Time is right. Sorry, that was the theme tune for
The
Going for
prize
Gold.
is on Bullseye, though.
A boat.
Yeah. Who doesn't want a boat?
It's not so much good if you live in Derbyshire. Is it really? Let's talk about a brilliant new series, Britain Today, tonight. The man behind Channel 4's successful prank comedies Phonejacker and Facejacker is back with this new series. Similar concept, but it's based on an investigative news team where every character is a disguised Kayvan Novak, the star and writer of the programme. Kayvan, thanks very much for being with us.
Thank you. Lovely to be here.
Yes, Kayvan.
Hello.
Hello.
So, who are the great characters in this series? Tell us about the characters.
There's many characters. There's about 10 characters, I think, in total.
Who's your favourite?
My favourite?
Yeah.
Oh, who's your favourite?
I like Nicholas Charles.
John
Nicholas
Donovan.
Charles.
John Donovan's.
John Donovan, yeah, the action reporter.
He was amazing.
Oh, that's good. Or,
He's amazing.
if you
What was
have
it?
a
What was the
favourite, then
Australian thing that he was in? Mike Fist.
Mike Fist Off.
It's
Starring Mike Fist.
that brilliant scene at the beginning where he's running across the beach and he has
That's
a tiny
amazing.
wobble, a tiny, almost imperceptible wobble.
Oh.
But he looks like such an idiot.
Yes.
Is the nice
What
word.
do you mean?
Oh, I love it. No, it was really, really good. Listen, all I kept thinking was how on earth you manage to fool people so successfully every time you do one of these shows. Have you got an eye for a mark now?
I guess I put myself in a situation where I know I'm going to interact with at least 4 or 5 people, and then you kind of spend an amount of time with them. In the case of Nicholas Charles and the emoticons, emoji had. That was it. Thank you very much. Yeah, sorry, my intro was a bit behind there. I'll spend about 30 minutes with each person, have an interaction with them. Some of them, they're just better than others, I guess. They kind of take the information on better. They give funnier reactions. And then at the end of it, you've got kind of 5 hours of footage and 2 very tired producers kind of huddled in a cupboard next door.
Nobody ever calls you out, though, do they? Is that a particularly British thing? I wonder, would people ever say to you, look, mate, you're being an idiot to Sir Nicholas, if it was in a different country?
I think maybe, there is that kind of British reserve and, a inherent politeness,
Yes.
intrinsic politeness in all of us. But that's really fun to play with. And I think it's something that I've become very good at, having done it for 10 or 12 years, winding people up. I mean, I wouldn't even call it winding them up. I'm not winding them up. I'm taking them on a journey where I'm going, I'm ridiculous now. How long are you going to put up with it for?
It's all about tolerance, isn't it?
It is. It really is. It's a tolerance test. And I think, this country is one of the most tolerant
Agreed.
nations in the world.
Agreed. Look, let's have a listen to the security correspondent, John Donovan.
My name is John Michael Patrick Donovan. Ex-Australian television action star turned television action journalist.
Hi there, John Donovan.
I'm on a crusade to uncover the danger and terror threats that hide in plain sight on Britain's streets every day.
Incredible. An illegal migrant.
As well as meeting the real-life everyday heroes that keep us safe from the bad guys.
This is John Donovan. Let's do this! Ow! Picture the scene. You've come to a shopping mall in the middle of Barking, and all of a sudden, the shopping mall is overrun by terrorists.
Wow.
Exciting stuff.
If he runs into that building where, if I was a terrorist, I'd get confused in here. There's a left and a right and a room with a man that says it should have women in it. It was very, very, very good.
I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah.
Do you ever corpse yourself with the ridiculousness of what you're getting away with?
Yeah, I have definitely corpsed. But luckily, I've usually covered in about 3
Yeah,
inches
you
of
are.
prosthetic.
Oh
so,
my God.
so my grins are they're undetectable from beneath my plastic face.
How many hours does it take?
Yeah,
So what's the most
filming.
difficult of all the characters to get that makeup on?
Nicholas Charles is pretty intense. It takes about 3.5 to 4 hours. So, and that's before you've even started performing. So it's a long slog, but I'm kind of used to it. I use that time to just kind of just relax and just trying to get into character and think about what I'm going to do in the day.
I heard you. I'm sure I heard you on Amplified Dots at A Dot's show on One Extra last week.
I was.
Giving out the most amazing email address on a wind-up phone call.
Oh yeah. Oh yes, with the one that I thought I'd bring out one of my old characters, Dufois Constantinople. Yes.
He's a Facejacker character, Phonejacker.
It was so good. I was sitting in the car with my kids, kind of waiting to kind of get them out of the car to get them into school, and they wouldn't leave the car because they were just laughing so
really?
much.
Oh, good.
It was so,
Oh,
well,
no.
not good. It was
Not
their
bad,
education
sorry. Late for
suffered.
school, late for school.
Kayvan, their education suffered. How do you think? I mean, this is a question you've been asked a million times before, but I mean, for this series, how did you think of all these characters? Were they bits of characters you'd worked on before?
Some of them were kind of characters I've been wanting to play for a while, but it's kind of finding a home for all the characters.
Yeah.
I definitely wanted to play Dicker Daly, the host, because I just realised how much of those kind of characters I've been watching just on Fox News.
Yes.
And, that type of character. I was like, I've never played an American character before. I'd never done it in Facejacker. I'd never really done it in Phonejacker. So to play that guy and to bring all these other characters into this news world was something that just felt right to me, because I realised how much news I was watching and absorbing, and the themes within there. So characters like John Donovan, who's obsessed with terrorism, just came out of me, and I thought, he's not even a character really. He's the guy that does the voiceover on those shows set in airports with Customs.
Oh yeah.
Customs Australia.
Yeah.
This guy is trying to bring in an ivory tusk. Not so fast.
Do you remember the first prank call that you ever did?
I do. I mean, the first prank call I ever did probably wasn't very funny, but it was basically, it made me realize that potentially by pretending to be someone else, I could keep the other person on the phone for longer. And it just happened to be a voiceover agent who I wanted to get into voiceovers, but I was calling up as myself in my kind of London drawl, and they were just like,
Sorry, our books are full.
but then I thought, well, I'm going to call this person back and pretend to be from the South and go, hi there, I just moved to the United Kingdom and I was interested in, perhaps sound a bit like Matthew McConaughey.
Yes, you do.
Would you like to take me on as a voiceover artist?
And they were like,
Oh, yes, send your stuff in.
so I was like, wow, I'm getting nowhere as myself, but I'm getting everywhere as Matthew McConaughey. Why don't I just be Matthew McConaughey for a bit longer? I didn't have Matthew McConaughey available to me at the time. I had Kevin Spacey. So, of course, calling up the BBC as I did all those years ago, pretending to be Kevin Spacey. I've just moved to London. I'm head of the Old Vic, and I'd really love to, take part in some BBC radio. So that was one thing I did, and I'd led them on for about 6 months.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
Do you prank your friends?
I would kind of prank my friends' parents, because they were a lot easier to get. My parents, my friends knew my repertoire pretty much by this point, which was mainly Harry Enfield impressions.
Yeah, we all did that.
Yeah. I think winding up your parents' friends and your friends' parents, or whichever order that goes in, was very exciting for me as a 15-year-old.
What about today? I mean, now, do you just go, sometimes just ring up? Are you friends with Riz Ahmed?
Yeah, I know Riz.
Yeah.
He doesn't return my phone calls anymore.
No, he's that guy.
Too busy on
He doesn't
Star Wars
return mine either.
conventions.
Don't
I know,
worry.
I know.
Yeah, exactly. Do you wind up your friends like now? Is it something that you'll do? Do you know what? It'd be like a lazy Sunday afternoon. You think, you know what? I'm going to wind up Steve.
When the mood strikes, I do. I really quite enjoy it. And actually, it gets the adrenaline going.
Well, this is the thing
It's
that
quite
I
exciting.
found quite interesting is that the night before a shoot, you feel really quite unwell.
I do. I can't eat, and it's just... I feel like I'm on death row or something, and I'm having my last meal, and I'm saying goodbye to my mama. I'm real sorry. I didn't mean to do all those things I did. It's a new character, maybe not. Yeah, it just feels like I'm going into battle the next day, and, you know, the failure is not an option.
Well, it flies or falls on you and you alone, doesn't it?
It
Because
really...
you're the only actor.
I am. But it also, you know, falls on the people that I'm winding up. You know, they've got to be
Yes.
good value. They've got to be reactive and receptive to what I'm doing. And, you know, give good reactions and just, you know, go along with it, you know, engage with me and go on a journey with me. Because I think that's also, you know, a very interesting aspect of the type of prank that I do, which is not really whoopee cushion or, you know, that kind of thing.
Yes, I get you.
It looks absolutely exhausting, Kayvan, to do.
It is.
It's the physicality of it.
Well, it's a stamina test, really. You know, you're 4 hours in makeup, and then you're kind of 6 hours performing. And it's not kind of this. You know, I've heard actors say that, but I guess there's more of a stop-start nature on a film set. And also, you kind of have a script and you have a trailer. Mm-hmm. You know, when we go out, we're there, and we're just there until we pack up for the day and go home. So
Austerity.
Yes. Exactly. That's a very good word, austerity.
Well, this is the lovely, you know the drill, the lovely part of the show where you now sit there while Sinead and Joe talk about the programme. So hang fire for a minute.
Yes, sure.
Sinead, Joe, what did you think? Britain Today tonight, Kayvan's new programme.
Well, it's worse for me because I'm sat opposite him.
Yeah, I know. I see that.
Do you want me to go first?
He's a big lad. He's a
You
big
guys
lad.
have got it easy.
I mean, I'll chip in then because I'm in a completely different city to you guys. Watching it, I thought there was a sense of there's nothing on TV like this at the moment, which was really refreshing. And I'm a big sort of the day-to-day fan, and there was a sense of sort of winding back the clock 20 years and that kind of topical satirical prank show. And there's definitely a gap for it. I mean, in the interests of balance, these sort of shows are always hit and miss. There's going to be characters that some people don't enjoy and that other people are going to love those characters, but there was more than enough of really big laughs to sort of breeze through that half an hour, and it was just great to see you back on screen, really, Kayvan, because I mean I loved Phonejacker, Facejacker, and you know you are sort of the heir to Sacha Baron Cohen or Dennis Pennis. You have this sense of fearlessness that the best sort of pranksters need, and you know we need a half hour of television like this every week, I think.
Yeah, Sinead?
Absolutely. Yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. I'm not just saying that because you're sat here in front of me. No, I really enjoyed it. Exactly like Joe said. I mean, it's something that we've needed on TV, like, for a while. I know you had, the television will be, what was it
Hayden
called?
Prowse and Jolyon Rubinstein.
Yeah, that was, it's you know, there's a little bit of that.
That was
I
very
loved
good as
the
well.
Equal Pay sketch so much. I thought that was absolutely brilliant.
I know her.
Oh, do you?
Yes,
Amazing.
Anila Dani, yeah, who was in that sketch. I was like, wow.
I love it, but also you love the fact that obviously, you know, you're kind of in with the prank as well, watching it, because you know you can see how these people are getting sort of annoyed and like, what's going on and why are they allowing this person to speak like this? So all of that's like really good fun. I thought it was brilliant.
Great stuff.
You
Well,
are quite
listen.
scary though in character. Some of those masks
Oh,
would be
they're
like,
terrifying.
whoa, hang on a second.
Have you ever left the set with it on, and then just kind of turn up at your own house or go and visit your folks or something?
Usually by the time I get to my house, I've ripped half of it off, which is apparently not good for your skin because they bond it on pretty tight.
Please tell me you do that on the tube.
That's
Sit there
a skin
ripping your
peel and a
own
half.
face off on the
Yeah,
tube.
no, I've been on the tube a couple of times in character, but not with half of it hanging off. I think that would just be slightly scary.
It would
for
be
everyone.
weird.
Well, Kevin, thanks so much.
Oh,
Good
thank
luck with
you.
it. Brilliant chatting to you
Thanks
again.
for having me on. Thank you very
Britain
much.
Today tonight is on Fridays on Channel 4 at 10 p.m. Now, the moment the Hal has been waiting for. One of the greatest TV success stories on both sides of the Atlantic in recent years, whether you like it or not, has to be Downton.
Well, there's no accounting for taste. And some of the people behind Downton are back with something new, and it's called Jamestown. And it's a costume drama, but not a cosy one.
We are building a new world. A world where a man might start with nothing, and through his own labours, prosper. Jamestown's a hive of men starved of women.
Yeah, so you think that you might be getting into a kind of nice historical drama, great premise, etc., but then very quickly you sort of see this boiling, as we described it earlier, febrile, kind of weird and quite unpleasant environment that these women arrived at in Virginia, Sinead.
Yes, indeed. I mean, I'm with Nahal on all these period dramas. I think we had quite a lengthy...
So many of them.
There is. Yeah, I mean, it's quite dark actually. This, and it's quite sort of depressing to think that this kind of stuff actually happened. I mean, I know it did, but it's quite sort of depressing. But big budget, I think, as well, isn't it? Obviously, with Sky, that's quite a big like production on it, and not one that I think I'll be watching again, though. Probably.
Why not?
Like you, I'm not a massive fan of these period dramas because I think there's just too many of them. I never really get into them that much, and I just think there's probably a lot other stories out there that could be told, really.
Well, Joe, you've reviewed this for us, so what do you reckon?
Well, I mean, I'm in complete disagreement with both of you, but disclaimer is
costume dramas per se.
They're my bag. I love them.
Okay.
There's nothing better than sitting down to a big costume drama, and we do them the best in this country.
Give me a week, and I'll compile a list of things that are better than sitting down and watching a costume drama, and it'll be the length of a Bayeux tapestry. Yeah. That's why it's going to take a week. Yeah, go on.
Look,
I'm with you, Joe.
Slight disclaimer, I've seen about 5 episodes, so I'm well into this.
Right.
And this is epic historical storytelling. It is already been commissioned for a second series, and it's one of those stories that sort of, when told, it makes you wonder why we've not explored this before. I don't think it's this cosy costume drama at all. We're talking about here the birth of the British Empire and of modern America. And of course, if you think about that in the late 1600s, you've got war and slavery all around the corner. So it's clear the scope of the storytelling here for this programme is potentially vast. And look, not only that, they're telling it in an inspirational way, I think, through the viewpoint of these 3 main women. And, we don't usually see historical drama told through the viewpoint of women. And I think that is vastly underexplored, and it just makes for a much more ripe drama. And obviously, it's made by Carnival. It's made by the same people as Downton Abbey. And look, this isn't high culture. There's a sense of fun here. There's a sumptuousness to it. And it's basically an expensive historical soap opera. And what's wrong with that? There's space in your life for that, for Coronation Street with breeches. I mean, for me, it kind of ticks all the boxes. I think it's brilliant. I think a lot of people are going to love it as well. And give me this kind of show over the 10-a-penny police dramas that we all seem to be talking about any day of the week.
Not mentioning any 10-a-penny police dramas that may have finished.
If there's a character as good as Adrian Dunbar in Line of Duty, come on, bring it on.
I'm afraid
bring it on, Joe.
Max Beasley might not be able to fulfil that. Listen, why do you think they've gone with Sky? Briefly, just simply bigger budget? What do you reckon?
It's very simple. I've actually been to the set, and it is massive.
Where's the set?
They've rebuilt Jamestown in the depths of the Hungarian countryside, and
awesome.
And everything you see is exactly as is. It's like a big movie set. None of it is green screen. So it's this huge operation, and it's quite simply it's budget from Sky. Carnival wanted to tell this big sumptuous story, and of course, when you talk about the birth of modern America, you're talking about potential US networks getting involved. So there's definitely scope for this to be another big show. Will it be as big as Downton Abbey? I don't think so. I don't think anything will match that on a global basis for a very long time. But it's very decent.
And I take it you were a fan of Downton Abbey, were you?
Absolutely loved Downton Abbey. It ruined my Christmas. It was the highlight of my week. There's nothing better than sitting down on a Sunday night, 9 p.m, and watching a period drama. As I said at the start, it's what we do best in this country, and it's wonderful television.
Well, the second episode of Jamestown is on this Friday on Sky One.
Let's get an Oxford Union debate going on between me and you on that one, I think.
The benefits of period dramas. It's on at 9 p.m. Friday. Sky One.
absolute rubbish.
Yes, I mean, I couldn't think of anything worse on a Sunday night.
Squeak it in there. You're just terrible. You're just, like, you have to have the last word. You're so naughty.
How dare you?
We're going to talk about the documentary of the week, which is The Truth About Sleep, a little bit later on. And we're going to review 2 very different royal programmes. All of that to come on Afternoon Edition.
Back with 5 Live's TV Club. Sinead Garvin from Newsbeat is here as usual with Joe never knowingly out on a Sunday evening McAlchuk, TV critic for Sky News and The Right Stuff. Time for TV Doc of the Week. The reason I say that is because Joe loves a Sunday night costume drama. He made that clear in case you weren't listening earlier on. So how much sleep do you get on average per night? The Truth About Sleep, presented by chronic insomniac Michael Mosley, looks to find out what sleep is, how much we need, and how to beat your insomnia. Sinead, tell us more about this documentary.
Yes,
something we can all relate to.
Well, absolutely. And I think it, like, no matter what happens in these documentaries, when it's something about sleep, we can kind of just like get very excited about it. We all want to know how much we should be getting, whether we're getting enough, and all the rest of it. So, I mean, this is quite formulaic as documentaries go. It sort of takes you on a bit of a journey with the presenter. This Michael Mosley. He's got chronic insomnia, and he talks about how he wakes up every morning at 3 and can't get back to sleep. And so he looks through the reasons why people are unable to sleep or can't get to sleep, the causes of not sleeping well, and then also some like new solutions and ideas about how we could get better sleep if needed to. And some of them are quite interesting. Eating a particular type of fibre was the one I found quite interesting.
Remind me again what type of fibre that was. Do you remember?
No, it was some kind of like powder that he was putting in a cup of tea, wasn't it?
It was probiotic, I think.
That's the one for his gut.
The kind of stuff you take in the morning in a yoghurt. This time you put it in a cup of tea at night.
Yeah, but then another guy was eating a kiwi fruit like before bed.
2 kiwi fruits.
2 kiwi, yeah.
Not one, that wouldn't work.
No.
Is he paranoid about scurvy?
I tell you what, guys, though, didn't it? I mean, I've heard vaguely about the links between type 2 diabetes and lack of sleep before, but it really reinforced it, didn't it?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, well, and it's all about like sleeping and obesity and sort of the links between that. And I think that's what's kind of like new about this one, because obviously there's been hundreds of documentaries about sleeping, and those were the kind of sort of the newer things we learned, I think. And also caffeine, which we do kind of like, we sort of know about that, but there's an interesting little experiment they do where they get 4 people, I think it is, to take an espresso, and then they're able to go to sleep pretty much immediately for a little nap. And when they wake up, they're all, fantastic. But that's because the caffeine won't kick in for another half hour or so. But that was just quite fascinating.
It was, and the DNA mapping was also, brilliant, wasn't it? The fact that Michael Mosley, particularly susceptible to caffeine, which he didn't think he was. He thought he could nail 6 coffees and not worry about it. But actually, turns out it's probably what's keeping him up at night. Yeah.
Wow.
You might not even know. Some people get a bit jittery after a couple of coffees, but some people don't, but yet are actually affected by it on a deeper level than you might think.
That's why I stick to espresso martinis. Much easier.
It was very interesting, but it was a bit long. I just think it was a little bit
Joe,
long.
what did you think of it?
I just kind of thought I'd seen it all before, to be honest, apart from the kiwi fruit stuff. I mean, alcohol,
isn't in itself to watch.
Using tablets. Basically, the truth about sleep, we don't get enough of it. That's the crux of it. And turn over to UK Gold and watch a repeat of Upstairs Downstairs instead.
Oh,
probably.
Oh. Can you not reinforce the opinion he has on you already? Listen, let's have a quick chat about 13 Reasons Why. Controversial, but it has, of course, now been renewed for a second series.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, well, because we kind of thought, we had sort of heard murmurings that it might be, and it was confirmed overnight from the 13 Reasons Why Twitter account, and Selena Gomez, who, of course, is one of the executive producers, posted a little teaser, showing all the different main places that you see in the show, and at the end, number 2, and the caption, their story isn't over. And I think it's interesting that there is a second series. I know why, because this one's done really well, but I kind of thought the story had finished at the end of the last episode, but apparently not.
Oh well, never let that stand in the way of ripping the whole thing apart and doing a whole other one. But there has been quite a lot of people have had problems with how it deals with suicide, Sinead.
Yeah, and I think any programme that deals with a subject like that is going to come under criticism because it's a very hard thing to tackle. I mean, the arguments against it were that they sort of glamorised suicide and, made it look like this, obviously a big Hollywood production. And they didn't really deal with the main character who does kill herself. They didn't deal with, like, her depression or sort of the steady kind of like increase in feeling like that. It all seemed to sort of happen without her becoming particularly depressed. And I think that's what some of the charities and critics have been saying was wrong with it. But then a lot of people have absolutely loved it and said it's fantastic that, Selena Gomez, especially being kind of like one of the executive producers, so like having this massive name involved, opening up the discussion. Getting people to talk about bullying at school and all these things that can happen at school and getting children to think about these sort of things. And so, in a way, I'm sure it is doing some good, despite what the charities might be arguing against it.
I mean, it didn't engage me, as I think I said to you before, but I think, it's not really aimed at me at the same time. So, Joe, what about you? Is it something you've been watching?
I haven't seen it, no. I've obviously heard about it, read about it. It's kind of, I kind of toyed with watching it the other night, but it's a kind of tough thing to click yes on Netflix to watch. I think you have to be in the right frame of mind. But look, I think this is the kind of program they should be making for teenagers. I know there's obviously, as Sinead said, there's always going to be controversy. But, if we don't tackle these issues in the form of television, then what's something like Netflix for? I think it's a brave thing to make, and I will get round to it.
I know from our audience who are young on Radio 1, 16 to 24, they're talking about it a lot.
Eating it, aren't they?
They're absolutely loving it. And, it is this great thing of like, well, if they're talking about it and as long as it's in a sort of positive way, then it is good.
Okay, well, 13 Reasons Why is available on Netflix now.
Channel 5 and BBC Two are both releasing two very different programmes about the royal family.
Channel 5's is a historical drama called Elizabeth I, Battle for the Throne, which stars Lily Cole. It's kind of always going to happen, wasn't it, at some point, Lily Cole playing Elizabeth I? I think so. Meanwhile, BBC Two taking a hypothetical look at possible power struggles following the death of our current monarch in King Charles III.
Let's hear a bit of both of them. First up, here's Lily Cole having a bit of a Cersei Lannister moment as the original Elizabeth.
Why am I being kept prisoner?
You caused rebellion, madam. Noble blood has been spilt. Confess.
May God damn me for eternity if I ever played a part in the treason against the Queen.
And here's a bit of the trailer for King Charles III.
How are you, Dad? For soon, he will be king.
Your father rules today.
This is perhaps the most unstable moment the royal family will face.
The Queen did not face laws like this to pass.
Refuse to sign. Provoke revolt.
You should have got it right.
That music sounded a little bit like X Factor. They're both of these programmes. Wasn't it? Yeah. But, suitably serious music to, I guess, go along with the subject matter in both of these cases. Which of these did you prefer, first of all, Joe?
Oh, my God, that's a tough question. I didn't think that both were very good at all. But I'd probably say Charles III, because Elizabeth I was absolutely, completely gutter terrible. I mean, it was one of the worst things I've seen all year. So Charles III on that question.
Wow. Do you know what? I was watching the Kayvan Novak show and then started watching the Elizabeth I. And for the first couple of minutes, I thought it was the same thing. I thought it was a parody. Use of music and this kind of, I was like, really? Enough already?
The tone of it was just completely bizarre, wasn't it? It was sort of history told through the medium of the Jeremy Kyle show. It was just pure historical, tabloid, just tittle-tattle. And let's face it, drama documentaries, I don't understand. Why do it? They have this faint whiff of a local Amdram society in the village hall. It doesn't matter what topic they're doing. And this was not saved by Lily Cole. I mean, it was bizarre. It was bizarre.
That's the thing, isn't it? The budgets are not big enough to make the actual drama look good, is it?
Do one or the other.
Yeah, right.
This weird hybrid.
Sinead, don't you think her performance was good?
I mean, it was okay. I don't think there was much she could do to sort of like. It reminded me of those shows you used to watch at school that were trying to like teach you about history, where you've got someone talking and this. So yeah, it's exactly like Joe says, a bit of sort of amateur. Yeah, she was fine, but I don't think it's a part that she could have really done anything to stand out and be amazing in, if you know what I mean.
Some people have taken the King Charles III programme really quite seriously, in the sense that they've said it's all tantamount to treason. Is it as controversial as critics have said in any way, Sinead, to your mind?
Look, I mean, people have got to realise it is a dramatisation, and it's, no one's sort of saying this is exactly how it is. So I think that's going a little bit over the top. I mean, I did quite enjoy it, unlike Joe. But the parts I found interesting. I really liked the Kate Middleton character. I thought she was brilliant. I thought that added quite a lot to it, because for anyone who's not seen it or not seen the play, she's basically the mastermind behind it all. And I quite like the way they've sort of developed her character into kind of what we think we know of her. It is, though, a play that's been made into a TV show, and I don't know if that always works, because you get quite that sort of like heavy dialogue that you're thinking, why are you speaking like that? That's not good. Do you know what I mean?
Joe, briefly, your summary of it?
Complete struggle to get through. So utterly implausible. It was just completely difficult to take it anything other than face value. Like you just said, Sinead, that the blank verse, that obvious nod to the great Shakespearean sort of plays, it just made it completely inaccessible. It was incredibly unsuitable for a mainstream drama. It should have been perhaps on BBC 4. Maybe I'd judge it differently if it wasn't on BBC 1. Very flawed, implausible, far too long, and stretches gratuitously
Yikes.
to
I'm starting to think that you don't like a royal drama, Joe. Just the way that
there's loads of costumes, Joe. There's loads of costumes.
Love a costume. If you want to watch a royal drama, watch The Crown on Netflix, because it's absolutely superb.
We have run out of time with you wonderful people. Joe McCutcheon, thank you very much indeed. Sinead Garvin, as always, thank you very much.
On digital and online.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
bbc.co.uk/5live.